Hello and welcome back to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn and this is the February reading for Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mercury. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. This month I will be using the Star Tarot spread in honor of Aquarius season. The card that is showing up for the present is the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups is really like the classic romantic card in the tarot, right? So he's showing that at this time, you're really in touch with your feelings, your emotions, your intuition, and that you are being charming and sweet and showing a lot of compassion to everyone around you. Some of you could be really focused on kind of indulging yourself in art and wine and good food and good drink, and just kind of tapping into all your your imagination and using that to create. So this card is showing that you're being ruled by your heart and by your emotions, and that you're kind of making decisions based on how you feel rather than what you are thinking. The card that came out in the position of your emotions, however, is the Hermit reversed. The Hermit in reverse is really a card of like really being isolated. Like it's good to kind of withdraw every once in a while to maintain your spiritual health, and also to be able to be self-reflective and to really focus on meditation and kind of getting in tune with your inner self. But when it's in the reverse, it is saying that you're kind of doing this a little bit too much, right? And that is for some of you. For some of you, this could be someone else's energy that's kind of affecting your emotion, because in the current, it's a little weird that you're in, Knight of Cups energy, but then your emotions is in the Hermit reverse. So that could be an indication that for some of you, you might be pretending to kind of be in that place where you're open and you're being intuitive, and you're being charming. It might be a front for and a cover for you not necessarily feeling that good. This card is a person that's like withdrawn, and so it kind of feels like different energy as opposed to the energy that we were discussing before with the Knight of Cups. So you, like I said, you might be pretending to be that way, but on the inside it's like you are lonely and you feel isolated, but no one really knows that because you're kind of covering that up. This could be, like I said, another person, but I don't think that it is. But it could be another person that's influencing your feelings. That could be a Virgo person that has like a lot of influence over your feelings or your emotions, or like it doesn't really feel like a dual nature to you right now, where you're kind of in one space feeling like you feel all the good things that are attached to the Knight of Cups, but then in your real emotions you're being like kind of fueled out of loneliness, trying to kind of push yourself out of being lonely, or out of a little bit of like a depressive type energy, right? So just trying to kind of move yourself out of that energy by pretending to be in a really good space. I feel like there is also like a sense of avoidance, where you're trying to avoid things going on around you, or people going on, or people that might be around you that you feel are trying to kind of like bring you down, where you're really trying to just focus on being in a good space. And so there's like a level of avoidance and trying to like shut off or close out like family and friends or people that are close to you, because you want to kind of focus on yourself. Okay, so the clarification for the Hermit card in reverse is the Sun, the Cross, and the Bear. And this is coming from the Grand Tableau Lenormand Oracle deck. And so there's an indication here that, okay, the Hermit card in reverse is here due to like an internal struggle that you have when it comes to being the head of or being the leader of something. It could be like I said, within your family, but there is a sense that you want to be in the sunlight. You want to kind of tap into your natural Knight of Cups type of energy, which is also symbolic of your energy in general. But there is a sense that you are kind of struggling under the weight of responsibilities in a certain dynamic, and that could be with a Virgo individual that is kind of feeling like they might be like a little bit too much for you. They might be kind of being they're kind of being a little bit of a burden to you. Overall, there is like this idea that you need to be careful about kind of falling under the weight of responsibilities, especially if you feel like these responsibilities are something that you have to do and that you're required to do, and that especially if these responsibilities are being placed on you and you're being put in a position to be a leader or to be responsible for someone else outside of yourself, and you kind of really don't want to do it, or it's just too much for you, but I feel like you might not necessarily be verbalizing it, so you're acting like you're okay with it, and really it feels like an internal type of suffering that's coming with those responsibilities. The Nine of Cups in reverse is showing up in the position of your beliefs. And what this is saying to me is that this might have been something that you wished for, and now it's like you got what you wished for, but it's not necessarily coming up in the way that you thought it would come. Like it's like wishing for to be able to to get a new job, right? Because you want to get more money, and then you get the new job, but then you don't get to see your friends, and you don't get to see your family, and you don't get to hang out with the people that you like anymore because you're like a slave to this job, right? And so it's feeling like, the story about like the genie in the bottle that gives you the wishes, and then you rub it and you wish for something and you get it, but it's not what you wished for. It's like all wrong. It's not giving you the same thing that you envisioned in your head. And so in your beliefs, it's like you wish for this, you asked for this, and now you got it, but you're unhappy with it, but you feel like you're the one that asked for it, so it's really nothing you could do about it but just kind of like deal with the situation. So there's like a sense of frustration that what you wanted didn't come the way you expected it to come, and so this is really like a time to also be mindful about overindulging and kind of being aware of like the potential for overeating, like drinking too much, partying too much, indulging into, in different drugs to kind of like, deal with the sadness that you're kind of going through. That's just a reminder, but I'm going to take a look at the clarifying cards for the Nine of Cups to see like what is the reason for this. So the clarification for the Nine of Cups in reverse is the tree, the ship, and also the child card. The tree in the Lenormand deck is a symbol of a couple of things. It's a symbol about growth, about being grounded, connections, but it's also a symbol of health. And I feel like a lot of you, this card is really talking about health, specifically the health of a child that you're kind of responsible for. I feel like that's where the responsibility is coming from. Like some of you might be dealing with a child who's sick, or you are the child of a parent who's sick, and that parent might be a little bit overwhelming for you, right? They might be a little bit bossy, especially in their illness. And I feel like you might have wanted to be there for them. You might have wanted to help them. You might have wanted to have a child, and now you have a child that's sick, and it's like a lot of responsibilities, and I feel like there's a lot of travel that's attached to this. Like you might have to travel to your parents' house, or you might have to travel to take your child to see like a specialist, but it's like all of the responsibilities that come with those things are kind of overwhelming for you. And I kind of feel like you really don't want to say that because you feel like it's going to sound really bad. So you're putting on a front as though everything is great, even when it's not. The card that is showing up for what is the heart of the matter is the Ace of Swords in reverse. Uh, on a side note, there's also an element of some of you are trying to conceive. You might be trying to have a child, and you're having a little bit of difficulty conceiving, and so you might be involved with getting fertility treatments, and so that is becoming an issue because it feels like a lot. Like you have to travel all the time to kind of do the things that you need to do for treatment, whether it's IVF or getting shots or getting, treatments done to facilitate this pregnancy. And I feel like you want to have a child, and you want to kind of go down this path, but whether the financial responsibility, the emotional toll, just the physical toll of it is a lot for you. So that is also something that just came up. So going back to what I was originally saying, the Ace of Swords is showing up as the center of the issue, right? It's like the signifier card for this reading, and it's an indication that there is something that is not being spoken. The truth isn't being spoken. And again, like I said before, there's a lot of things that you might feel burdened with, and I feel like you're not necessarily saying that you feel burdened by it. And so this is why the Ace of Swords is showing up here. This is an opportunity for you to understand that if you're in a position where you are unhappy, or you feel like you committed to something and now you don't necessarily enjoy the state that you're in, it is really up to you to verbalize that which you are unhappy about. Because if no one knows that you feel that way, they can't necessarily adjust or accommodate the way that you feel if they're completely unaware of it. Card is being clarified by the key, the lily, and the child. So again, there is a sense of like you didn't necessarily want to go down this path, right? Like it was innocently done. There is like a sense of you being given the opportunity to kind of open a door that will basically issue in some changes regarding the situation. Some of you might find that something will happen to kind of like free you up from the situation. I don't want to say what I have in my head because I don't want to put it out there, but something's going to happen that is going to basically free you up from your responsibilities and your burdens. Whatever that is, I don't want you to feel guilty about it. This is Spirit giving you a doorway through. And for those of you who are trying to get pregnant, you might find that actually happens, so that will eliminate the need for you to do all the things that you were doing before, because that thing that you wish for, you're going to ultimately get. But again, at the heart of the matter of this is you being brave enough to speak on how you feel, because for some of you, if you don't speak on it, you won't get the opportunity to kind of to fix it, or to kind of straighten it out, or get back into alignment with what you ultimately want. I feel like you making these sacrifices is coming from a pure place, but you have to also take into consideration that it's completely throwing you off from what it is that you want to do. In the position of the subconscious that will eventually be revealed or come out is the Hangman card. And so that is really talking about, like divine timing. I feel like a lot of you are kind of like waiting for the right moment or the opportunity to speak your truth, as opposed to others of you who are waiting for something to happen. Like I said, if you are trying to get pregnant, I feel like divine timing is also at play here, and you might discover that when you alleviate yourself from certain stresses, or when you have that discussion or be open about the way that you feel, like certain things will start to fall into place, because it'll take away the stress that you've been holding on to that is like affecting the outcome of your situation, whatever that situation might be. So in terms of when this situation will kind of flip over, and when things will start to change and straighten back out, you'll see that this is really, like I said, is really about divine timing. So for some of you, speaking the truth will actually start to usher in the changes that you hope for. In the position of your hopes and fears, the card that came out for you is the Justice card, which is also a representation of Libra energy. And so this is really talking about balance, and really having it be fair and equal. And again, like I said, a lot of this has to do with you basically speaking how you feel and letting it be known rather than covering it up. I feel like once you do that, you kind of, like I said, usher in some changes that'll happen. And as a result, like the situation will change in a way where it's mutually beneficial to everyone involved, and that you aren't held left stuck holding the bag and carrying the brunt of the work or the weight. And so it'll kind of equal out, which is ultimately kind of what you want, right? So but just be aware, like I said, if like like my boo says, closed mouths don't get fed. So just remember that. And so the card that came out and the outcome is being represented here by the Ten of Cups, which is ultimately true satisfaction for you in terms of being, like I said, emotionally balanced, and feeling like you're in a situation and in a dynamic where you're giving as good as you get. You don't feel stressed out. You feel complete. Everything is kind of working out. And if you're looking for children, they're the little kitties in the card, so that'll work out too. But ultimately, like I said, this is really about speaking your truth, really being clear about what it is that you want to do. If you want to switch directions with certain things to kind of alleviate the stress that you're under, then this is a good time to do that. But it ultimately works out for you at the end here with the Ten of Cups, which is amazing, and I'm glad. And that pretty much wraps up the reading. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you for sticking around and listening to the full reading. Please comment below. Let me know how this is manifesting in your life. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for post notifications. Come over and follow me on my socials, and I will see you soon, Scorpio.